Welcome to Broadband Action, a podcast brought to you by the Community Broadband Action Network. I'm Curtis Dean.
And I'm John Willow.
And we are really excited today to be talking about our upcoming CBAN Fall Forum. It's going to be live and in living color on October 10th in West Des Moines, Iowa, but also available virtually to all our members and other CBAN supporters across the nation. We've all been thinking a lot about what happens after BEAD. Not only for our members that are out there building networks as a result of BEAD and the funding that comes with it, but also for our communities that already have great broadband. What's next? How do we leverage our broadband connections into real rural and local prosperity? Well, we're going to be talking about that topic at our summit on October 10th. And a little bit later in the pod, we're going to be talking about it with our keynote speaker, Christopher Ali. He's the author of Farm Fresh Broadband. And we'll be having a conversation with him I took about a week ago. So, John, hey, thanks for coming on with me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Thank you.
And I was going to say, we're just really excited that we have our first podcast sponsor.
Yeah, we do.
We do. Today's episode of Broadband Action is made possible by CBAN broadband backer Power & Tel. Power & Tel has an extensive distribution system. It provides service providers, contractors, and others with really an effective way to get the widest range of products needed to build and maintain communications networks. They are also a WBENC certified women's-owned business, and that's really important. Power & Tel's extensive distribution system provides service providers and contracts with an effective way to get the wide range of products needed to build and maintain communication networks. As a WBENC certified women's-owned business and value-add partner, they offer efficient solutions for managing material and transactions, increasing asset visibility, and maximizing resource and facility capacity. They have a deep industry background and relationships, and those relationships have ensured unfailing success to products and brands that accelerate innovation for over 6 decades. Solving the supply chain challenges is their core strength, and they go the extra mile to get the right product out every time. Go ahead and visit them on their website. It's www.ptsupply.com. You can also give them a call. Phone number is 800-238-7514. On a personal note, I've known the Power & Tel guys since my very earliest days being involved in the broadband industry, and they're just a fantastic organization. They really are customer-centric. They're relationship-centric, and you really can't go wrong working with them. So we really want to thank Power & Tel for supporting our work and helping bring this content to you. Well, John, we are in the home stretch, so to speak, preparing for the CBAN Fall Forum on October 10th. I'm going to turn to you. You and I have both been deeply involved in putting this agenda together, but I'm going to let you kind of summarize what we're doing and what the agenda is and what the purpose of this event is.
So as Curtis said, we have been working with communities all over the country, and we've been thinking a lot about what happens after BEAD. As we start to deepen into some of the grant-funded digital equity work, it's starting to spur our thinking about that. But where we are right now is we're building what we're going to use later. So as we're building it, how do we think about how to make that goodness last? How to convert that, like Curtis said, into true prosperity for local communities. So as we're spinning this around in our minds and trying to figure out the best way to get people really involved with that. Obviously, Christopher Ali, was one of the first people we thought of to come and set the stage for us in the morning. And we're also very excited that at lunch, we will have a speaker. We'll have Teresa Greenfield from the USDA Rural Development. She's a field director, and she'll be talking about the USDA's role in rural prosperity and broadband development. So we're really trying to wrap it around community level, and it's great to have two wonderful speakers, but why would you spend a whole day here? Well, we always try to make our events really valuable for the people who are practitioners and who either are doing things hands-on or really want to understand how the ground level works. So the way we will structure our sessions outside of our two key speakers are with roundtables, work group roundtables. And we will rotate through our roundtables during the day, and our virtual attendees will be able to participate individually in each roundtable too from the internet. We've got key topics. We've got some of our speakers already lined up. We are for one of our topics is leveraging broadband for local economic prosperity. And we're very excited to have Joe LaRussa, who is the mayor of Farmington, Michigan, and also the owner of Supremo Consulting, who does a lot of community consulting in the infrastructure space in general. Joe has a great background in engineering and also community development. So it's going to be a great roundtable. Also, we have effective partnerships as local prosperity drivers, and in particular, focusing on devices. And our roundtable captain for that is Tom Esselman, who's the executive director of an organization called the Digital Equity Program Office of Kansas City, or Depot KC. And he's a wonderful collaborator and just a great person to be in session with. So we're very excited about that. We're also nailing down our final details for work sessions on telehealth and workforce development. And if anyone listening now has an idea for another roundtable that we might have missed, and especially if you want to step in and facilitate that roundtable throughout the day, reach us at hello@broadbandaction.com.
Great. Yeah, we have a jam-packed, or I should say, it's going to be an action pack. Let's face it, it's not just information. There's going to be some real fun action there.
Action.
And
it's in our name.
In our name. Exactly right. And one of the things too, just to point out that for people that will be there in person, which we certainly hope you can. We've got room for a really good crowd there. And if you can't join us in person, that's fine. We'll make it virtual, but be there in person if you can be there. We're going to have some great associate members that'll have displays there. And these are folks that can help you achieve that prosperity by leveraging your broadband service. So we'll have our various sponsors there, plenty of opportunities to network with them at that time. We'll have lunch. We should have a really great lunch. Now, if you're virtual, you have to grab your own bag and sit down at your desk in front of your computer and watch us eat lunch. But
we don't charge you for the time.
We don't charge you for the time. That's right.
That's catering. Lower prices for virtual attendees.
That's right. We don't want you to go too far because that's when our speaker, Teresa Greenfield from the USDA, will be there. But so yeah, there's plenty of opportunities there for networking throughout the day. Whenever we do these events, we think the networking is as important as the speakers, as important as the conversation. So we really want people to be able to talk to each other, talk to our associate members that'll be there. So that's a really big part of this event. I did have go ahead.
I was just gonna throw in that when we say we have room for a really great crowd, our great crowds are not like a large conference or convention. And I don't know if everyone who's thought about going to a CBAN event is aware of that. What we do is we do work sessions. We top out around 100 or 150 people, and we're super happy to work with 75 people who can get really, really close in a day. So we're excited to be able to extend like more of a work group situation to our online participants rather than just listening from the sidelines. So we're also really interested in your feedback on how that goes, because we haven't done it before. And we're not proud. So yeah, right. So it is very exciting, and it's not going to be a faceless group. Like Curtis said, we'll all have time to have conversations, to learn about each other's work, and maybe, share something inspiring that sets you on a new path or validates the path you're on.
Yep. And remember, you've got this, hopefully you do now, or you soon will. You've got this amazing tool in your community toolbox, and that is great broadband. So how do you take that tool out of the toolbox and put it to work, building the prosperity that your community wants, needs, and deserves? And so that's really what we want to focus on that day. And I think we're going to have the right people in the room to really help you understand how to unlatch that toolbox.
And lots of subject matter experts who can drill down into your specific
Mhm.
situation and concerns. And it's my understanding that our speakers will be around for at least part of the day too,
Yes,
to
I
answer
believe that is the
questions, offer
case.
insight. So pretty lucky. It's going to be a small group with a lot of star power. So I think you should. I hope all you all can get to Des Moines if you're not already there, and take advantage of this day, because we're going to roll up our sleeves and do some deep thinking.
Well, speaking of star power, one of the neatest people I've met over the past few years in the broadband industry is our keynote speaker. And Dr. Christopher Ali is the author of a great book called Farm Fresh Broadband. If you haven't read it, you should. He is also the Pioneers Chair of Telecommunications at Penn State University. And I run into Christopher at almost every event, industry event I see, and he always has a crowd around him because he's such an engaging person, and he's so smart, and he's so personable, and he's so insightful. And I'm really excited I had a chance to talk with him last week, and here's a little clip of that interview, him previewing his keynote speech. We're so excited that at the CBAN Fall Forum in 2024, we get to talk with Christopher Ali. Christopher is on with us right now, and Christopher is a doctor. He's a Penn State University professor, and he is also the author of a great book, Farm Fresh Broadband. And Christopher, you're going to be leading a session for us called Empowering Communities, Rural America's Broadband Moment. Talk a little bit about a little preview of what you plan to discuss.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much for having me on the podcast, and thank you so much for the invitation to address all of you in a couple of months' time. So one of the things that I've been working on a lot in this new book project is how communities are coming together um, to initiate broadband connectivity programs, digital equity programs, affordability programs, and through that, we're seeing a tremendous amount of community resiliency and community empowerment, and that, of course, leads to all other types of opportunities, especially for our rural communities, where we know that broadband is a major gateway towards economic development, towards telehealth, towards educational opportunities, and just kind of quality of life. So how do communities coming together mean that we can think about and think through community resiliency and community empowerment? So I'm hoping to tell some stories from my fieldwork. I've done a lot of interviews and surveys and focus groups, and hoping to share some of the things I learned, and particularly hoping that we can talk about how do we elevate these community experiences, these community stories, all the way up to our policymakers, so that we end up with more socially just, socially equitable broadband and digital equity policy.
You know, it's that information sharing, that story sharing that we really focus on here at CBAN is we, try to get people sharing their success stories and sharing their failure stories, obviously, because that's how we all learn. We learn by trying, doing, and sometimes not doing it well. So I love that idea of, the stories you're collecting for your new book, and expressing that and sharing that. It fits really well into our overall theme of this year's Fall Forum, which is leveraging broadband for community prosperity. We've got all this money being pumped into broadband networks coming down the pike with the BEAD program and other state programs all over the nation. My thought is, okay, we got broadband. Now, what do we do with it? It's got to be about more than just better video streaming. So, that's an important thing that we're going to be addressing. And it sounds like it's going to fit right in with what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, I am so excited for the theme of the event. I think it is such a nice dovetail with the type of work that I'm doing. And then my bigger thought is always, what can policymakers take away from these stories that we are going to be sharing? How can these stories inform meaningful broadband and digital equity policy to help our rural and remote and indigenous and low income communities empower themselves through digital technologies? So let's connect the dots.
Absolutely. And connecting the dots is exactly what we hope to accomplish at our Fall Forum. Shameless plug. That is October 10th. Not so shameless, because I'm really excited about this year's event. It's Thursday, October 10th in West Des Moines, Iowa. So we invite everybody to attend. Registration information getting out to all the CBAN list here really soon. And Christopher, we're really excited to have you there. Maybe just give everybody a little bit more background on how you got to where you're going to be on October 10th at our place.
Yeah, great
Your
question. So,
broadband journey.
my broadband journey. So, I have a PhD from the University of Pennsylvania from the Annenberg School of Communications, a PhD in communications. Then, I actually wrote my thesis, my dissertation on local television policy. So, I'm a policy scholar, and I think that a lot of my work focuses on how policy and policymakers can help us communicate better at the local level. So, I've looked at television, I've looked at newspapers, but there's always this kind of glaring gap in my knowledge, and that of course was this thing called the internet. And it always seemed very intimidating. It's very technical, it's very technological, which of course a lot of our communities are intimidated by too. So I began this journey in about 2016 of kind of teaching myself all the ins and outs of broadband and broadband policy. And that led to my first broadband book, which came out in 2021, which is Farm Fresh Broadband, The Politics of Rural Connectivity. And I got to say, ever since 2016, I've been hooked. I've been a kind of a die-hard broadband policy guy. But one of the things that I really find in my research as kind of a policy scholar is no one talks to people. You know, we talk to some policymakers and might talk to some ISPs, but going down and talking to community organizations, going down and talking to the folks who are living and breathing digital divides, I think is really valuable. So with this new book, I'm really trying to drill down and highlight, humanize broadband policy, because let's be honest, policy isn't written for communities. Policy isn't written for everyday people. Policy is written for lawyers. And no offense to the lawyers out there. I hope, you know, great respect for them. But let's translate some of this policy to make sure it's meaningful at the community level.
I love that. Let's take something that to most people is abstract and let's make it feel real, because policy does impact lives. So
yeah, and they're the ones living these policy decisions, right? You know, folks on the ground, community organizations, service organizations, libraries, schools, they're the ones living the decisions that are being made in state houses across the country and, of course, in Washington, D.C. So let's make it a little bit easier for them.
Well, we know we'll have at least one policymaker there because our one of our luncheon speaker is going to be Teresa Greenfield with USDA Rural Development. She's field director here in Iowa, and she's going to be talking at lunch about the role that USDA plays in rural prosperity all the way across the board, from broadband to all the other things they do. So we'll have her ear and probably more. So Christopher, I want to thank you very much for coming on and giving us a little preview of your discussion. We are excited to see you in West Des Moines on October 10th.
Excited to be there. Looking forward to it.
Wow. Every time I hear Christopher speak, it just gets me more excited about the work that we're doing. So I now even more, I can't wait for October 10th.
I think people understand now why he's kind of a magnet for this. And he's actually, you know, as he mentioned in our conversation, he's writing a new book. And he, you know, that's why he was so excited to be able to come to our event, because he's working on this new book, and he just wants to talk to as many people as possible. And in fact, such a busy guy, John, we get to see him 2 weeks in a row because he'll be at our CBAN Fall Forum, and then we get to see him at the Merit Conference the week after.
Merit Network in Michigan, they're having their Fall Broadband Conference up in Benzie County, where CBAN's also doing a lot of digital equity and infrastructure work. So we couldn't be more excited. So the Merit Fall Broadband Conference is October 14th and 15th, and Christopher will be speaking with, at our event on the 10th, and then on the 14th he'll be up in northern Michigan. So 2 chances to see him in the Midwest in one, all during Digital Inclusion Week too. So that's pretty cool.
And part of a very busy October for yours truly, with several industry events coming up that I'm excited to be at and participating in. All right, so CBAN Fall Forum, October 10th, live or online. The registration is open, and let's give you some information about that. If you are watching this on YouTube, we've got our QR code right here that takes you right to the registration page where you can purchase your tickets and get registered for the event. Now,
I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you're audio only right now, you can just go to our website, broadbandaction.com. And there'll be a link right on the homepage to register for the conference and learn more about it.
And also, if you're listening and you're either listening on YouTube or you're listening on Spotify or your favorite podcast platform, check out the description of the event of the video or pod, and I will put a link to it down in the description. So that's a couple of ways to register. You can see we've got the QR code here, but I can also put a banner up and show you. Well, I better actually say I did it. There we go. There's the URL if you want to take a second to write that down. I'm not a big fan of URLs, honestly. The QR code is where I go to. But again, this is the link that we will have in our description on both the YouTube and our podcast. So plenty of ways to register. And again, registration just is very open just very recently. And we'll continue right up until soon before the event.
And we have a message for our members around that too. CBAN members, you will be saving 35% on your in-person attendance and 40% on your virtual attendance, depending which option you choose. And if you haven't joined CBAN yet, almost every membership is free. So when you go in to purchase your tickets, if you click a link as a non-member, you'll also find a link where you can go join. So
yes.
if you join first and then register, you'll save a great deal of money. So we encourage everyone to do that if that interests you.
Think about that. You can join a great organization
for free.
Come to a great event, virtually or in person, and it will cost you minus $10 to $20. What a great bargain. It's almost as good as, a sale at Walmart.
What?
No, I'm just kidding you. Of course, it's better.
Oh my goodness. I think we just went sideways.
We did go sideways, and that's how we do things around here. So just if you're not used to sideways, you're not used to live. Also, I'll let everybody know you probably will want to come in the evening before. So you're there bright-eyed and bushy-tailed rather than, if you're coming in person and having a 3-hour drive to a 9 a.m. meeting.
Shotgun start at 9 a.m.
Yes, that's right. So we want to let you know that there is a hotel block that is available. It's at the Sheraton in West Des Moines. It's just a driver and a 9-iron away from West 48, where we're having the event. And we're going to be planning kind of a little casual social the evening before on October 9th. So if you're going to be coming into town that evening, get a hotel block there at the Sheraton West. We've got information about that on our website / our Give Butter registration. And we'll join us the night before and have a little additional networking opportunity that night. So John, it's all coming up really quick. We got about from when we're recording this, about 6 weeks to go. So we really hope to get everybody registered and have a very successful event.
Yes.
Absolutely. And once again, we want to thank our today's pod sponsor and our proud broadband backer, Power and Tel. Thank you for your support to the folks at Power and Tel for making CBAN happen and helping us grow our organization, grow our network, and reach more people.
That's right.
Great. Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Looking forward to seeing you actually in person again here in a few weeks. So, and looking forward to seeing all of you or hearing and seeing all of you virtually online at the CBAN Fall Forum on October 10th. For now, that's Broadband Action. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.